What is going on, friends, and welcome back to the Minecraft Hub channel. So today we're going to be going over the top 5 best mob farm designs that you can do in your own world, and they're great for either single player or multiplayer, whatever you're trying to do. These are all mob designs, so you can get creepers, zombies, skeletons, all those types of mobs from it. You're not going to get any Enderman farms, but maybe we'll do a later video on that. We are also going to cover each mob farm in order of how efficient it is. So if you're trying to see the most efficient mob farm design, be sure to stick around to the end of the video and you'll see who actually builds that. If you enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can see all of our other Minecraft content. So first up today, we have a creator by the name of Lazian, and he builds a very simple mob farm design. You can do this on day 1 of your world. And it's basically just a small cobblestone box with some water, and he uses the pathfinding of mobs to make them actually go towards the center and fall down into the fire pits that he has placed below. He does a quick 1 hour AFK just to show how efficient this mob farm is, and it is definitely not super efficient, but for the ease of the build, it is actually a great design to do. If you're just trying to find something to get a couple stacks of gunpowder or bones, this is definitely a great one because he only gets about half or a quarter of a double chest. Next up, we have one that is actually a cross between an XP and a item collecting farm. It's a very easy build, and you can likely do this on your first couple days of playing, and you can also change it up slightly to make it so that it only collects items or it's just the XP farm. There's a lot you can do with this one, and it also uses the pathfinding mechanic of mobs. So you place the trapdoors and the mobs think they can walk over the trapdoors, but instead fall into the water and then fall down to your platform that you have set up. With all these, it's always great to AFK in the air because that limits the mobs that is spawning in the cave down below and will get you the best rates for your farm. Because in this video he's using it as a XP farm, he only AFKs for 5 minutes, but this is the amount of mobs he gets down there, so it's definitely a great farm design if you're getting some beginning level XP and some decent mob rates. The next mob farm design that we have is where it starts to get a little more complicated, but the rates increase a lot. This is by Mumbo Jumbo, and it was actually created 6 years ago on his channel, but it still probably works just because of the simplicity of the design. It's just water dispensers and a dark room, and the only thing you may have to adjust is the redstone clock depending on how redstone has changed over the last 6 years. This design is definitely going to take you 2 or 3 hours to build, but it's going to be worth it because of the rates it drops. I think this one produces about 13,000 items per hour, which is a pretty solid drop rate for a mob farm. You can see the redstone clock working on the outside here. It's mostly based off pistons and hoppers, so it's a pretty easy design if you just follow along with the video. He builds this out of iron because he's either in creative mode or has an iron farm that produces the blocks for him, but you can definitely build this out of cobblestone, wood, anything that you like that's very easy to collect. He also uses a lot of hoppers in this design, so you're definitely going to want to get a lot of iron before you start building this. You can see just by how many mobs are falling here that this is a very efficient design. If you're just trying to get some gunpowder to power your fireworks or some rotten flesh to trade with the villagers, this is definitely a great design, and you'll have plenty of arrows, bones, anything you want throughout the remainder of your world. He originally built this on the Hermitcraft server, so it is multiplayer friendly, but because of the redstone clock and the amount of entities it produces, you're going to want to be careful of the lag that it'll create. You're going to want to put this in an area pretty far from everything else and only use it when you're the only player on or everybody else is fine with a little lag. Next up, it would not be a mob farm video if we didn't include Ilmango, who has made some of the best mob farms of all time. This is a great all mob farm with skeletons, creepers, spiders, zombies, everything like that. Even produces a couple witches occasionally. It's a pretty complicated design, so it's definitely going to take some time and energy to put into this one, but once you do, it's worth it. It produces about 17,500 items per hour, which is 4,000 more than the last one, so if you want to put in a bit of extra time and build this, definitely a great way to go. This one just pushes the mobs off and uses fall damage to kill them, but he also makes it with magma blocks so that if the mobs actually survive because they're wearing armor, then the magma blocks will kill them off, and the water just pushes all the items out to the side and down to a single collection point, which is going to make it a lot cheaper as far as hoppers go, so you won't need as much iron to produce something like this. It's also dispenserless, so you're not going to need any bows, and it uses a trapdoor and piston system. For a mob farm of this size and for what it produces, this is actually very cheap and definitely worth it to build. I'd estimate it'd probably take you about 2 hours to build in your own world. It's also pretty expandable and you can add as many layers as you really want to. Next up, we have my favorite design, and you might recognize it from what was behind me when I started this video, and this is by Genombon. So it's a very simple design. It's mostly just tedious work that you have to do with placing water and things like that where the time comes in. And as you can see here, it's water all around this base and then it goes up layers. It's very similar to the El Mango design, except it doesn't use magma blocks and it actually uses dispensers instead of the trapdoor water system. So it is definitely a different and likely more expensive design as far as iron goes, but it is definitely worth it for its drop rates. The first half of his video is a tutorial on how to build this. He shows the list of materials that you need and everything like that, and the second half is a very detailed description of how it all actually works and the mob rates and factors that can come in. So it's definitely worth it to watch, and if you're trying to learn a little bit about mob rates and things like that, definitely stick around to the end of his video because it is very interesting actually. I've used this design multiple times throughout a lot of my worlds, and it is very efficient, so I would highly recommend it. You can easily get a few double chests full of stuff if you only AFK for like an hour, so if you're looking for a highly efficient mob farm, this is definitely the one for you. He actually estimates the drop rate at about 38,000 items per hour. I don't know how accurate that is, but it is definitely still worth it to build even if that's not entirely accurate. The redstone for this design is actually not complicated at all either, especially if you're following along with the video. It's a very simple repeater redstone clock on top, and then the redstone signal just travels through each of the blocks as it goes down. This design will take you about 2 to 3 hours to build, and you're going to need a lot of slabs, probably more than you think, but he does put the amount that you'll need at the beginning of the video, so if you're following along with the video, you'll have exactly what you need. As you can see, this design is basically a steady stream of mobs just falling onto those hoppers. It's a very good system. You're going to have some trouble likely with some armored mobs, so you're going to want to be careful of that, but it is pretty rare that this design doesn't kill them, so you should be safe. The only times that it's not going to is if they have feather falling or they're fully armored. And if anything, you can increase the height so it does kill those mobs. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like down below, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We have a lot of different Minecraft content, and I'm sure you'll enjoy some of our other content. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.